Hi, I'm Rami Atasi, and this is Guitar Tactics. So this is part one of a two-part lesson on Lydian major chords. So in this lesson, we're going to look at how to build a Lydian major chord, and we're going to look at four shapes for playing a C Lydian major. And then there's a second lesson here that I'm putting together where I'm going to show how you can apply these chords in the context of music. So let's start by just looking at the C Lydian chord, right? So we're going to start with a C. And this is probably a familiar C shape for you. It's down here in the open position, and it's like this. Okay, so to make this a Lydian major chord, what we're going to do is we're going to go to the, the D string, and right now we're playing the 2nd fret, which is an E, but instead we're going to play the 4th fret, which is an F sharp. So check this out. Instead of going, it'll be like this. Now let's hear the whole chord. Okay, cool. So you can hear that as soon as I add that F sharp down there in the bass, well, actually the C's in the bass, but it's in the low register of the chord. The chord starts to get a little more ambiguous and kind of a little more interesting. So again, here's the straight C, and now the C Lydian chord. So there I was using that F sharp as a hammer, but often we'll just play it. Cool. So then there's a couple of variations you can use on this to make it sound really musical. One is that if we go to the B string of this shape here, we're playing the 1st fret, which is a C. And you can hear that's an octave with what's going on in the bass note. There's 2 C's right there. So what we can do is we can lift up our 1st finger and have an open B, which is kind of nice, you know, but works really well if you use it to move to a C. So you do the open B and then you fret the first fret here, the C. Something like that. And then there's another shape I've provided here, which is you keep the bass notes the same, the low notes rather. So it's still a C, an F sharp, and a G, but then your top note becomes a D. And so then you can sort of play a melody line on the B string like this. Then the open E. And so you get a lot of versatility. You get these 2 shapes, but they give you a handful of colors that you can use. And again, they're really just the same chord. So then what we'll do is we'll also go up, you're probably familiar with this bar chord shape for C. So we're going to take those top 4 notes, and then we're going to take the top 2 notes and move them down a whole step. So we're playing the 7th fret of the B string and the 7th fret of the E string like this. And you can hear, again, just this really sort of ambiguous and interesting color going on. And then, just like down low here, we added a D, so we started like this. There's a C up top here, and then we move it up to make it a D. Okay, we're going to do the same thing here. Here's a D on the 10th fret of the E string. Very pretty to me. So I really like these Lydian major chords. So now we have 4 voices, and I'll just play them real quick for you. So let's talk a little bit about how this chord is constructed and how it works and why I call it a Lydian major chord. Well, first things first, when I say Lydian, what that means is that it's a major chord with an F, well, in this case it's a sharp 4, right? So if it's a C major chord, the sharp 4 is F sharp. And so the reason that, check this out, if I play a C, and I start to add a B, like a C major 7, or if I add a D, which makes it like a C9 or a C major 9, depending on, here's a C major 9. That has both a B and a D. But what we're really hearing is we're hearing a C chord, right? And then on top of it, these color tones, right? But really it's C. It's just C major, and none of these color tones that we're adding really alter the function or the sort of use of the chord. But when I add an F sharp, things change quite a bit. So this is a C major 7. And this is a C Lydian. You can hear that the C major 7 just kind of sounds like a richer version of C. But the C Lydian, that chord has a totally different personality. And the reason that it does is, let's take a look at the core of a C major scale. So the first 5 notes of a C major scale, like the pentachord, right? So that's going to be C, D, E, F, G. But if this were Lydian, Lydian means major with sharp 4. So the Lydian scale here would be C, D, E, F sharp, G. Let's hear that. And that sound of the C against the F sharp is called a tritone. That's the interval, it's a sharp 4 or a flat 5. And that's what makes this chord sound somewhat unstable, ambiguous, mysterious. And to me, it has a really different character than all the other types of, like, major 7, major 9, even like sometimes like a sus chord. Those all sound like C chords, right? They're functioning in the key of C major, and it's very clear. But when we make a Lydian chord, it sounds a little more mysterious. So to recap here, Lydian major chords have a sharp 4. You want to learn how to play them in a couple different positions, and once you have a Lydian major chord, start adding other tones on top, like, add what would make it a major 7, add the 9th, and so the 4 shapes we used here are like so. And so once you get these shapes down, you can move on to the next lesson here, where I'm going to apply these shapes in 2 musical contexts to kind of show you how we can use the Lydian sound in the music that we are typically playing, either by ourselves or with other people. So thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions, just leave me a comment as usual, and good luck with your practicing.